Drive on Lugnutz.
Nothing left to do but to crank over those engines, gearheads, because 'tis none other than us, the Lugnutz podcast.
We got history for you here this week. We have Ford history. Ford makes history. GM lays off a few people. Cadillac does stuff. Honda, Acura, and more fun recalls. On this week's Lugnutz, thank you for joining us.
Enjoy the show. Drive on Lugnutz.
Right on over here. Facebook.com/Lugnutz podcast. That's where you're going to find all of our Luggy and Nutty content coming to you ever so slightly behind. But one thing that's not coming to you ever so slightly behind is this first story.
Ford. You know, it's not every day we talk about historic things, is it? Is it? It will be here. Ford agreed to pay $165 million as the second largest auto penalty ever issued by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Wow. I mean,
Second largest ever.
Thank God somebody's keeping track.
Well, National Highway Traffic Safety Administration is. Other people are too. This includes the $65 million upfront payment.
Yeah, that's a hefty one there. Yeah.
Would you believe we're still talking about Takata airbags?
Yeah, they killed a lot of people.
Yeah.
They killed a lot of people. I mean, and a lot of more people injured.
So that's what happens when you put a shotgun shell behind.
That's what happens
airbag?
when you don't test the airbag to make sure it's not a shotgun shell.
Yeah.
There's a difference. You know, they weren't intending to put shotgun shells in there. They just didn't make sure there wasn't one.
Total civil, the quote, the statement says, total civil penalties amount of $165 million is second only to the Takata airbag in its 54-year history.
Okay. So enough people were affected by this Ford recall.
This has to do with a
To say the
defective roll safety camera. Rollover safety camera. How does the camera prevent rollover?
I was wondering the same thing as
In F-150 trucks and Ford Explorers. If you do own a F-150 truck whose car could roll over because of a safety camera.
Who's sitting there?
Give us
watching? Who's sitting there watching this podcast saying, you know what, my mother, if only that rollover safety camera was working, she'd still be here. What does that do?
I'm not entirely sure, but you should get it fixed, and there's something wrong.
It's like a special safety camera to make sure you don't roll over. Like, what is it? Pump like?
Well, if it's a lawsuit, they already got it fixed, so clearly we covered it. Watch all the episodes that came
all
before this.
180.
We talked about it. We talked about it, right? We talked about it.
It's 180 episodes of Lugnutz.
Sure.
We definitely talked about it,
We
or
talked
it
about
wasn't
it a lot.
or it wasn't
I
interesting.
assume.
Yeah.
Like I assume with this next story, this will be a bright one.
Sure.
No, it will. Here it is, SEMA 2024 Harrop, Australian company with 60 years of automotive design manufacturing experience, is showing off their new Chevy big block supercharger during SEMA. This is the TVS 2650, made specifically for Chevy engines.
Okay. I mean, as long as you have a market in place.
It can support well over 1,200 horsepower. That's a lot.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's enough to get you to the grocery store and back.
Yeah,
Sure.
pick up that can of peas you love.
Right now.
Yeah, and be back right now. So fast, you'll age less. So fast, you'll age slower. Front drive and front intake design maximizes reboost for rapid acceleration. Integrated high-efficiency dual-pass air, water-to-air intercooler within the manifold.
Okay.
Temperature is always optimized for performance and consistency.
That's why you got the computers.
Yeah. Speaking of computers, let's talk about this next story. It's all doom and gloom from here. Well, for some people. GM gets to continue to operate as a company, but it is laying off roughly 1,000 employees on Friday to cut costs and regain amidst a changing market.
Okay, that sounds like there were at least like some higher ups that were pretty expensive if it was to cut costs at only 1,000.
Yeah, this is at the Detroit plant.
So it's not like they need the jobs. It's perfectly fine. It's only Detroit.
Nobody lives there anyway. Sorry, Detroit, you do live there.
Well, the 5 people that live there, now they don't have jobs.
UAW Vice President Mike Booth, who oversees GM's union, GM is trying to cut 50 UAW jobs when they're making record profits. He kind of has a point. You know, shareholders first, I guess, is GM's point.
I mean, it's a way.
We fight for our laid-off members with full force of our contacts.
What?
I don't know. He said in an email statement.
Oh, an email statement.
Sure.
They didn't have the balls to goddamn say it on a webcast. Like Lugnutz. He could come on here and say it.
He could. He could.
He could. He probably won't. I mean, there's no fucking way.
Talk to all 20 of us.
You know, he could.
Including the dog.
I mean, he has been nagging my ear off about this guy all week.
Yes. Things are going really well over at GM, and we'll see with this next story. Sorry, GM. Problems over at GM, but only if you have a 2022-2023 Chevy Express or GMC Savannah vehicle.
Oh, I'm good.
Incorrect software in the transmission module may result in unintended deceleration, rear wheel lockup, which could cause problems.
Accidents, yeah.
Yeah, National Highway Safety Traffic Administration recall more than 461,000 cars. Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good bet, yeah.
2020 to 2022 Chevy Silverado, 1,500 to 3,000. GMC Sierra 20 to 22, all numbers. I'm not saying.
But how often were these cars unintentionally braking in the right situations?
Well, in a 2021 Cadillac Escalade or Cadillac Escalade ESV.
So maybe it helped you in a certain situation, but you were like, maybe I still need to go get this checked out.
Or a 21 Tahoe, a 21 Suburban, a GMC Yukon, Yukon XL.
So nothing popular.
Nothing popular.
Okay.
Everything popular.
Right. Yeah. Other way. Okay. So it's not looking good for GM.
No. This next story's got to be better.
I mean, we can only hope.
It's nothing but sunshine from here. Well, when I say sunshine, I actually mean if you hated the XT4 from Cadillac, then you'll be happy to know it's dead.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Fairfax Assembly Plant, January 2025, will introduce something more popular, they hope.
All right. I mean, as long as they're hoping.
The XT4 was introduced in 2019 as the cheapest, smallest gasoline crossover.
And nobody wanted it, huh?
Sales are down.
This is the cheapest piece of crap we could ever give to you. Why do you not want this? Why are you not entertained?
Sales are down 11.9%. They only sold 15,688 units.
So that's like a lot like when those luxury units get a recall and they're like, hey, Larry, you may want to come back to the dealership. Yeah, no, there's just something we got to check out.
It's fine, but your car could burst into flames at any moment and you could die instantly. You're right, I should come back.
Are you free Tuesday? Oh, wait, hang on, I got golf. How about Wednesday? Wednesday morning. Wednesday morning, I'm free.
Great.
It's Friday. Just don't park your car by your house. How about that? Oh, I got to walk?
So my driveway is fine, directly next to my house. It's not next to my house. It's next to my neighbor's house. Is that fine?
Oh, that's completely fine. Fuck him.
Don't park it next to your neighbor's house if your car's going to catch fire.
Don't do
Please
that.
don't.
No. Well, even if you don't know, and you're just like, maybe this is affected, still don't park it by your neighbor's house.
Yeah, park it next to the fire department. That way they don't have to go anywhere to put out your electric car.
I mean, it's
not
not
going
like
to be on fire for a couple days.
Not like they're rolling out of bed and be like, hang on, I got this.
No, they do it with shifts.
It's fine. Fine.
Just everybody comes back every few hours to check if the electric car that had an improper plug of some sort.
Make sure it's shut off and not on fire.
We're going to call this National Highway Traffic Safety Administration podcast.
Yeah, I mean, Jesus, it's like every story has been sponsored by them.
Well, we got one more. When you finally think you're safe with a Japanese car. Honda and Acura, National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. There's a probe into a wide range of Hondas and Acuras with 3.5-liter V6 engine. Connecting rod bearing, which has something to do with the pistons, the crankshaft.
The
power.
Connecting rod bearing is what is around the crankshaft, and what connects is literally surrounded by the piston ring. Well, the piston rod.
173 complaints of engine failure with this particular engine.
That's what would happen, yeah.
No catastrophic failures yet, but they were also alerted to, somewhere in here it says there's a small fire. 1,450 similar warranty claims due to a fire.
Well, I mean, they do like to mess around with different metals and stuff like that, and hey, maybe it affected this engine differently, and hey, that's why we stopped doing that. I don't know. However they do it, but Honda, they have had even when you look in the past decade, they had the infamous piston ring recall. To where they were like, hey, guess what? Carbon builds up on your piston rings because we fucked up. So if you burn over this much oil, stop and inconvenience your day, and we'll change out them piston rings for you. It was a massive, massive recall. A bunch of cars.
Just thinking of the logistics.
It was a lot of money. Oh my God, it was a lot of money. I was doing warranty at the time, and I was like, oh my God, look at all this. Look at all the money I put there. Holy crap. Oh, man, if I was an accountant, I'd be worried at that day. I would have been worried some of those days I was putting in claims. Holy crap.
But no worries here. You can find all your automotive news on the internet page book faces.
Mm-hmm. We want you to hop on over here to the facebook.com/Lugnutz podcast, and that's where you're going to find all of our Luggy and Nutty polished content coming to you in a timely fashion. And, of course, we want you to check out the Tales of the Hunted podcast, Nope or Dope podcast, M&M podcast, as well as all the stuff we have on the Perjangers and Wallhangers Media Network, and know that 100% for a fact that none of them roll without Lugnutz. We'll see you next week, gang. Until then, drive on!
Next week, European Car of the Year nominees.
All right, we're only going to get a couple barks out of you. That's fine. That's fine. We'll see what happens next show when you don't get the full credit. It'll just say link.
He's going to go back to the couch.
He's offended.
Yeah.
But we don't want you to be offended. We want you to stop on back here because know that we love you, we miss you, and we want to see you next time. Until then, drive on, Lugnutz. Bye-bye.
Drive on, Lugnutz.
All right, here. There.
There. Here, there.
Don't need you.
They're bouncing here and there and everywhere.
All right. Nothing left to do but the excuse me.
If your gears are crunching, you should see someone.
Cranching. Yes. All right. So.
2.
So, yeah, we're good. Nothing left to do. Ooh, hang on.
Take 3.
There we go. Make sure to like and subscribe. Comment below. Right above Big Brother's head is going to be the very best Perjangers and Wallhangers video for you. Right above my head is going to be all the Lugnutz podcast and playlist. That's actually reversed. And, of course, our podcast doesn't end until you hear our main man, Connor, say,
Drive on, Lugnutz.